So guys, in this next news story, 4 gang members who left a 7-year-old girl in intensive care following a drive-by shooting outside a church have been jailed for 73 years. The girl suffered wounds to her lung, abdomen and groin and still has a metal pellet embedded in a muscle close to her heart, which will impact her for the rest of her life. An adult woman who was also hit in the attack spent 4 months in hospital and can no longer walk by herself. A total of 4 women and 2 children were injured after the gunman fired a sawn-off shotgun at a crowd of people outside a church in Euston in North London in what was believed to be a gang-related attack. During sentencing, the court heard victim impact statements, including one from the mother of the girl. She said, "My daughter used to be a happy and outgoing girl who loved princesses, singing and dancing, but this incident has taken her innocence away from her. I will never forget a comment she said to me while we were in hospital. It still pains me. She asked me, 'Mummy, why is this happening to me?' For a 7-year-old girl to say that, I feel she had done something wrong. It's heartbreaking. I honestly thought I was going to lose my daughter." The ringleader, Tyrell Lacroix, was sentenced to 26 years and he even celebrated the gang's show of strength later that evening following what was believed to be a revenge attack. At the time of the shooting, the victims were attending a memorial service for Felicia Calderon, who's 50, and her daughter Sarah Sanchez, who was 20, who died within weeks of each other through natural causes. Detectives believe that one of the gunmen, a member of a gang in North London, had wanted to attack rival gang members who were at the service. Mourners had turned to watch doves being released from the church steps when the criminals drove by in a black Toyota and shot them from the rear passenger window. Lacroix is 23, Alrico Nelson-Martin is 20, Jordan Walters is 24, and Jashy Perch is 20 were all convicted of conspiracy to wounding with intent to cause serious bodily harm during a trial at Kingston Crown Court. Nelson-Martin was also convicted of possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life, and Perch was also convicted of possession of an offensive weapon. Another victim, who was present in court, held back tears as her statement was read out. She said, "Prior to the incident, I was extremely hands-on mother, taking my children to school, piano lessons, swimming lessons, as well as trips to London or Brighton. I had the freedom to do that, but now I have lost my physical and mental freedom. I can no longer walk across the road without assistance. I no longer feel safe, often anxious that something bad will happen. I no longer take my children out by myself. Financially, we are strained and close to losing our home as I have been unable to work. And the day that was meant to be about me remembering my friends was turned upside down by the actions of these horrible individuals. It was a beautiful service which ended in a callous, cruel and vicious way. I am a trusting person, and when this happened, it showed me how evil people can be." So today, Lacroix, who was the gang member and therefore described as the organizer of the shooting, was jailed for 26 years, comprised of 21 years in custody and 5 on license. Nelson-Martin was sentenced to 14 years in a young offenders institution, and Walters was jailed for 13 years. Perch was sentenced to 20 years, comprising 16 years in a young offenders institution and 4 on license. Judge Mark Byron Terran Casey said, "This was a carefully planned conspiracy with the attack timed to have maximum impact and ensure maximum injury. Lacroix, you were the leader of the group. This was your plan and the others acted for you. Nelson-Martin and Perch, you sourced the car and put numbers on it. Nelson-Martin, you hid the gun, which was later modified with a shortened barrel to make it more dangerous. Walters and Lacroix, you drove from Willesden to the church to the place of the attack. Lacroix and Perch, you were in the car at the time of the shooting." Judge Brian Heron added that Lacroix went out celebrating the evening of the attack. He said, "You went out celebrating what you thought was a successful show of strength against a rival gang. You had been stabbed a year prior by a member of a rival gang and you were set on revenge. The truly horrific nature of this crime is that you were all prepared to shoot and maim innocent members of the public in order to continue a violent feud between 2 rival gangs. The effect of the shooting was catastrophic. You caused injury, panic and mayhem. It's the highest category of harm." The 4 defendants, were all dressed in dark tracksuits, remained motionless as their sentence was read out. Lacroix and Perch could be seen attempting to converse during the proceedings. During the trial, the jury was shown CCTV footage of mourners screaming and fleeing the service, which took place on the 14th of January 2023. Another video showed the black Toyota driving towards a church with the rear passenger window down. The third showed the car making its escape, during which it drives at considerable speed, overtakes a bus, drives on the wrong side of the road as it overtakes other cars and jumps a red light. Detectives from the Met Police trawled around 2,000 hours of CCTV footage to track the car and discovered that its number plates had been cloned. Prosecutor Zoe Johnson Casey explained during the trial the registered owner of the Toyota was a man who bought the vehicle in September 2022, and he was shopping at his local supermarket when another Toyota bearing the same number plates was used to commit the shooting. They said this is a common tactic for those planning to commit a crime to copy a number plate and use it on another vehicle. That reveals that this was a carefully planned operation. Officers received information that Lacroix was involved in the shooting, and phone data revealed that he had been in regular contact with 3 other men in the lead-up. The gun was found at Nelson-Martin's home address, and Perch's fingerprints were traced to the gun. DNA, which could have come from Walters, was also found on the gun. Commenting on the verdict, Detective Inspector Darren Jones from the Specialist Crime Trial Investigation Team said, "These dangerous men brought unimaginable fear and horror to the streets of London. They cowardly shot at mourners as they gathered outside a church. The innocent women and girls who were injured will have to deal with the impact for the rest of their lives. This extensive and complex investigation demonstrates our relentless determination to identify dangerous offenders and bring them to justice." So once again, the sentencings are as follows. Tyrell Lacroix, who's 23 years old, was sentenced to 26 years imprisonment for conspiracy to wound with intent to cause serious harm. Jashy Perch, who's 20, was sentenced to 20 years imprisonment for conspiracy to wound with intent to cause serious harm and for having an offensive weapon and possession of cannabis. Jordan Walters, who's 24, was sentenced to 13 years imprisonment for conspiracy to wound with intent to cause serious harm. And Alrico Nelson-Martin, who's 20, he was also convicted of possession of a shotgun with intent to endanger life and was sentenced to 14 years imprisonment for conspiracy to wound and possession of a shotgun with intent to endanger life. Guys, in this next news story, a man has been found guilty of murdering his father in Preston. On August 26th last year, Austin Duckworth breached his bail conditions by attending the home of the victim, Stephen Duckworth. He forced his way into his father's home and repeatedly punched him to the head before walking away, telling his father he better call an ambulance. Stephen was able to contact the police and provided an account of what happened. He declined medical attention initially, but he felt increasingly unwell as the day progressed, resulting in him calling for an ambulance later that same evening. Stephen was taken to hospital where it was discovered that he had devastating bleed to the brain. Despite the best efforts of medical staff, Stephen died from his injuries on the 12th of October 2023. A post-mortem examination revealed the cause of Stephen's death was blunt force head trauma. After a 5-day trial, his son, Austin Duckworth, was found guilty of his murder. DCI Jill Riley from the Force's Major Investigation Team said this is a tragic case involving the death of a 72-year-old man in his own home at the hands of his own son. Austin Duckworth set about punching his elderly father to the head and face and continued to do so as he fell to his knees and sought to protect himself from the blows with his arms. This was a callous and violent attack, and one which left Stephen with non-survivable injuries. So I just want to say, rest in peace to the victim, and my condolences go out to your family. Here's a number of stories coming out from the streets of the UK. It's your boy GT. Keep it locked, keep it real.